Well, it's taken 5 months to get an answer from her, but I finally got a reply from Karen Flanagan at Save the Children Australia, where she is. What is she? She's the Child Protection Advocate, Senior Advisor at Save the Children Australia. Karen Flanagan, Australia Medal, that's what AM stands for. I asked her, would you please tell me if Save the Children Australia has a policy as regards male genital mutilation, and if not, why not? Furthermore, are any dollars donated by Australians used to perpetrate male genital mutilation in Africa and elsewhere? I'm keen to hear your reply and whether or not Save the Children Australia treats male children differently to female and intersex children. I signed off in our quest for equality and human rights. That's how she signs off on Twitter. Yours in our quest for equality and human rights. Let's see what... I finally got a reply from her yesterday. So just looking at Karen Flanagan's reply to me. Here's her reply. I have now clarified that Save the Children does not have a specific policy that deals with this issue alone, nor do we have a policy on female genital mutilation. However, male circumcision and FGM should not be compared because they are distinct practices that have different health consequences. Because the health consequences of FGM are severe, it is widely considered a human rights violation, and we respond to human rights issues that affect children accordingly. We do, however, have a gender equality policy which aims to identify the different needs of boys and girls and address gender-based discrimination. Thorough context analyses are carried out with participation from girls, boys, women and men to determine where the greatest needs are in relation to boys' and girls' education, survival and health. Projects are developed upon this information. Here at Save the Children, our protection focuses on family violence in the home, in Asia and the Pacific. We do not currently program in Africa at all for development work. I hope this answers your questions. Best regards, Karen. So let's now have a look at Karen Flanagan's reply to me, sentence by sentence. Let's have a look. Well, I replied to Karen Flanagan. Let's have a look at my reply as I go through her response point by point. Dear Karen, I sent her the Ulwaluko Pondoland photos of male genital mutilation, worst case scenario of so many mutilated penises. I'll leave it in the sidebar. You can have a look at it. Please look at the above link and then tell me if you still think that male genital mutilation and FGM should not be compared. Who says they should not be compared? You? She says they shouldn't be compared. That's what she's saying. This is the senior advisor and child protection expert at Save the Children Australia. I tell her that Save the Children was founded by Eglantine Jebb, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child that even Iceland parliamentarians cite today as they defend the genital integrity rights of male children, was built upon Jebb's original draft. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child, is an international document promoting child rights drafted by Eglantine Jebb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. So here I am spelling something out to the head of to this senior advisor at Save the Children, something she should know. This is what she really should know. The first thing the Declaration of the Rights of the Child says is, the child must be given the means requisite for its normal development, both materially and spiritually. This surely means that a child should be allowed to grow up intact with the genitals it was born with. The child must be given the means requisite for its normal development, slicing up a male child's penis so that he can never fulfill himself sexually and, experientially You can never have full sensation. That's not allowing somebody to have their normal development. Slicing up a penis is not, or a vagina, whatever. Genital mutilation of any gender is not normal development. It's just not. I have to tell this. Over 100 male babies die in the USA alone from male genital mutilation every year. Death can be a consequence of male genital mutilation. Furthermore, like FGM, there is a whole spectrum of mutilation from mild to severe. Male genital mutilation can be anything from a pinprick to scarification, tattooing, pearling, beading, piercing, infibulation, circumcision, subincision, castration, and right through to penisectomy. There is still a tribe in Africa, for example, that cuts off one testicle. In Australia we do circumcisions, yes, as well as subincision. This is what a subincision looks like, by the way. I then give her a link to Wikipedia on penile subincision. You can see that in the sidebar too, in my sidebar notes. You seem to suggest that FGM has worse outcomes than does MGM. You are alluding to the worst case scenarios of infibulation, etc., that can ruin a female's health and end in death. The fact is, however, that worldwide the average FGM is of a type that is less injurious than is the average male genital mutilation. And as you can see from the link I furnished above, that's the Pondoland link I furnished above in Africa, male genital mutilation can too, and does, often end in death for the men and boys concerned. Indeed, throughout all human history, thousands upon thousands of men and boys met death through castration, a form of male genital mutilation. People forget that, don't they? All of history. Castration was all through history, wasn't it? It seems clear from your reply that Save the Children does not consider male genital mutilation a human rights violation, whereas it does consider FGM, even a pinprick, I presume, a human rights violation. Like Australian Human Rights Commissioner Edward Santow, you also seem to mistakenly think that circumcision is the only type of male genital mutilation, when, indeed, yes, just as with FGM, there are degrees of severity. That is, there's a whole spectrum of male genital mutilation. There's a whole range of, from a pinprick to the most extreme, which is cutting off penis and testicles, complete castration and penisectomy. So a worst case genital mutilation can be of anybody. It can be of male, female, or intersex. Anyone can have their genitals mangled, ruined, their reproductive organs ruined. When I saw you pictured on Megan Mitchell's Twitter feed, I suspected you were yet another misandrist person who does not consider genital integrity a fundamental human right for boys. And you are such a person, even though you do double-speak, talk of gender equality. She talks of gender equality, doesn't she? And at the same time, she basically says that FGM is a human rights violation, but she doesn't acknowledge that male genital mutilation is a human rights violation. You are such a person, even though you do double-speak, talk of gender equality. That is, she wriggled out, didn't she? She wriggled out. When I saw you pictured on Megan Mitchell's Twitter feed, I suspected you were yet another misandrist person who does not consider genital integrity a fundamental human right for boys, and you are such a person, even though you do double-speak, talk of gender equality. It would do you and Megan Mitchell good to go on some listening tours of the male genital mutilation wards together. It's about time you did. You will observe the same agony and hear the same screams of horror and terror come out of those little boys' lungs. FGM of any sort is a rare event in Australia. However, thousands of defenceless and non-consenting Australian boys go under the knife every year, just as I did. It is clear that you have no understanding whatsoever that male genital mutilation is a deliberate genitourinary injury, that it is both neurotraumatic and psychotraumatic, that it also damages the biomechanics of the penis. Male genital mutilation is gender-based violence and certainly qualifies as family violence. It was my mother, it was my mother that had my two brothers and myself genitally mutilated. I was done without anaesthetic, not that anaesthetic makes it right, and still have extra holes in my penis from over 60 years ago. Thanks for your reply to me as child protection advocate and senior advisor. I can see that Save the Children, like other child protection organisations, has a feminist bias and treats male children in a differential and unfavourable manner, even if it does not have a policy on genital cutting, and even if it does not undertake any activities in Africa. I will be making a YouTube video in which I discuss your reply to me. Your notion that one type of genital mutilation should not be compared to another will interest many. A pinprick to a little girl in New South Wales gets one up to 21 years in jail, but as you can see from the link above, dying, that's the Pondoland link, see in the sidebar the Pondoland link. But as you can see from the link above, dying from a gangrenous male genital mutilation is a far worse outcome than a mere pinprick to a little girl. The average FGM done worldwide is less invasive, less neurologically damaging, for example, than is the average MGM, which removes up to 20,000 nerve endings for life. And if over 100 boys die in the USA each year from male genital mutilation, then how many little boys succumb in Australia each year? How many would succumb, if you think about it? You need to be educated, and it is clear that in your 35 years of experience in childcare, you still see fit to turn a deaf ear, a blind eye, and to keep mum about male genital mutilation. It goes without saying that you will not put the above Orwaluko, that is the Pondoland link, on your Twitter feed, as the truth would be too confronting to both you and your followers. Yours in our quest for equality and human rights. That's how she signs off on Twitter. Yours in our quest for equality and human rights. So this woman, Karen Flanagan, the senior advisor at Save the Children Australia, ostensibly believes in equality and human rights for all. But she does not acknowledge that male children should have the fundamental right known as genital integrity. She only sees that as a right for female children. See you then.